to make it right. It's time to make it right. Steve Weiss.
I own a jewelry store. We've been a trusted member of the community for almost 40 years. That trust reflects to me how I run my business and how I live my life. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, good morning. The story begins right at the time of the recession. Most businesses were affected and mine was no exception. I knew I had to make some changes, meaning I had to let some people go. These people were like family to me. They had worked with me some for over 15 years. I couldn't bear to see them suffer, even though I was suffering. I kept them on for a week, that turned into a month, that turned into years. The recession was over and business remained flat. Today, they're still with me. Every year is a trade show in Vegas, and I've always attended. And last year was no different. We stayed at the Mandalay Bay, which was where the convention was. The first day of the show, my wife stayed behind, and I went. I saw a large diamond dealer that I had not done business with, but I had heard of. I sat down at his booth, and he excused himself. And right there, with nobody watching, was a parcel of diamonds. I looked at it, I opened it. I thought, I can't even go there. I've lived my life honest. I could never even think that. I was embarrassed that I had those thoughts. The light just danced on those diamonds. I closed it up real quick and put it down. Still waiting for this gentleman to come back. He didn't. And in a wild moment that I can't even explain, I grabbed it, put it in my pocket, and stood up, expecting somebody to jump on top of me. It didn't happen. I started walking, still expecting somebody to grab me in the hallway. Nothing. At the end of the show, I started heading back to my room. And as I was walking through the casino, I saw a slot machine. I was kind of in a fog. I reached in my wallet, put a $20 bill in there, and just let the whole thing ride, pushed the button, and wasn't paying attention. And all of a sudden, lights started flashing, bells started ringing. People were gathering around me. That was the last thing that I wanted, was to draw attention to this. And the casino person came, got my ID, and came back with a check. $127,000. I had won the Progressive. I went back to the room, and the first thing my wife said to me was, "What's wrong?" Pulled out the check and gave it to her, and she was jumping up and laughing, and I started crying. She looked at me like I lost my mind. And she said, "What's wrong?" And I told her what I did. She couldn't believe it. She said, "You have to go back tomorrow and return it," which I agreed. I didn't sleep that night. First thing when the show opened, I went back there, but there was a group of people gathered, some that I knew. I turned the other way and walked. I did not return it. When I got back to the room, first thing my wife said, "Did you return it?" Her bags were packed, she left. I stayed in Vegas for the next couple days. I didn't return the stones. When I got back home, my bags were packed. Been living up the street in the hotel for the past several months. When I leave here, I'm going to go and make it right. I'm going to turn myself in, and I'm going to hand over the stones. So why are you thinking that I'm here telling you this? Two reasons. The first one, when I didn't stand up in front of the group and return those stones, I feel I have to start to make it right by standing up in front of you. And then the second, the most important, this is tall tales. Very little of it is true.
Can I have 1 minute for the judges to monitor ballots?
Whoops, yes.